Today's video finds us over here in Ayutthaya. And what we're going to take a look at is we're going to take a look at Wat Luang Chi Krut, which is like the monastery of the Revered Nun Krut, I think is the translation. Anyway, this is a small ruin that's kind of on the southern part of the old city island, kind of in a place where one of the Thai kings before he was the king had his residence over here. And it was near a couple canals and stuff like that that was pretty important. It was also near the southern part of the city wall on the Chao Phraya River. So we're going to walk through here, take a look at it. It's not an overly large ruin. It's been restored a few times. It's in the Grandmother's Park, and the Fine Arts Department came over here and restored it. Now, not a lot is known about this temple, like most of the stuff here in Ayutthaya. The records were destroyed whenever the city was sacked and burned by the Burmese. But anyway, let's walk through here. We'll see what's left of it and enjoy the video today. You can see the area that it's in, and it's right next to a temple I was over here last week or so. It's Wat Wang Chai. And that was actually the residence there of the former king before he was king. Once he was king, then he moved into the Grand Palace, and then he had his residence converted into a temple. And they built like an ordination hall and stuff like that. And then if you can see right across the way, right over there, that is the French church that's on the other side of the river. And the Chao Phraya is right there. This is really a cool part of Ayutthaya. So let's walk through here. We'll start over there, and then we'll look at all of these ruins. Yeah, that's St. Joseph Church, and the current iteration was built in, I think, 1888. And then you see where this fence is at? That used to be one of the fortifications on the Chao Phraya River. I think there was like a total of 18 forts around the island, and it guarded from invasion. And you can see here, this is the base of it. Most of the city walls and everything else were dismantled and taken to Bangkok and Thonburi. King Taksin, after he liberated Ayutthaya from the Burmese, he realized that it wasn't defensible. The Burmese knew how to get into the city. So he ordered it to be dismantled and everything taken over to Thonburi, where they established the new capital. And then it was later moved to Bangkok under King Rama I. And what we'll do is we'll come in this from the east side. So this hall right here was an ordination hall. I think it was like 14.5 meters long, something like that. And you can see the base of like the columns that would have supported the roof and gave you a little walkway around the outside. This was the ordination hall. You can see the base right there where the Buddhist stones were at. And it had a wall right around it, and then it had the outer temple wall over there. And there would have been a canal going down the back side of this, and then you would have had the Chao Phraya across here on the front. But I don't know if it was completely surrounded. I mean, you can see the moat over there that would have went over to Wat Wang Chai. Now this is the inside of this ordination hall. So here's the platform where the monks would sit, and then it had the normal columns. This would have been probably middle Ayutthaya styling. The columns here inside would have been octagonal shape, and then you would have had the platform right over here for all the Buddhas. You can see what's left of them, just some sandstone Buddhas, the parts of them and stuff like that. Yeah, the Fine Arts Department, when they restore these, they just kind of toss the pieces over here. The ones they don't piece back together, they just kind of sit to where you can see. So those were sandstone Buddhas right there, and then it had some other ones that were brick with the plaster on the outside, and you can see kind of what's left. So these would have been all the smaller ones they would have used for the ceremonies, and then the main Buddha would have been right up here on this platform. And it's quite large, and then we would have had a humongous Wihan right next to it. Now they think that there were two chetties. It looks like there was a chetty right there, the base of it, and then there would have been another chetty over here. You can see parts of it and everything, and they would have been on this site, but they're all completely gone. which is a shame. I really like seeing the big, huge bell-shaped chetties that they built in this era. All right, let's look at the base of this. Now you can see how the normal Ayutthaya styling. And it was middle Ayutthaya, so it wouldn't have been kind of bowed in the middle like the later Ayutthaya. Later Ayutthaya, they built them to look like a Chinese junk ship, and they would have bowed them in the middle. Yeah, this was the circular chetty. It would have been 9 meters across here at the base, but there's nothing left of it up top, so they couldn't even really identify the shape of it. And then you see over here, they would have had a Buddha image and stuff like that here in between the two chetties. And then something here, maybe a smaller little chetty right next to it. And then over here would have been a square-based chetty. And it would have had the redented corners you can see right here, which would have been the Ayutthaya style. And all the pieces of it are just kind of scattered about. And here's parts of it and everything. What's kind of interesting is there's a piece of laterite stone right here. Wonder why it's over here. Because the Ayutthaya, they used the brick, so they might have had another ruin that would have been maybe Dawati or Khmer that would have been in this area maybe, and they used just some of the pieces for filler and stuff like that in the foundation. Okay, let's look at the last little hall over there, and then that'll be the whole temple here. You can see over here they have the bases of some of the smaller little buildings, and then over here also the same thing. Hard to say what the functionality of these were, but there's only just the outlines of them. Now the monk quarters would have probably been right over here in this area. Tradition, they were kind of to the south of the buildings. Now you can see just a little bit of the plaster work that is remaining over here, but not very much. Yeah, right there, that's all the plaster work that you can still see at this ruin. And there was a couple inches of it here on these bricks. And then a little bit right there. You can see how old these bricks are. These are, I'd say these are the original. And then the tops of that little platform right there where the two chetties and that other little building were, those are all new bricks they brought in to make it to where visitors can come and walk around on this ruin when they restored it. And then here's another part of the wall. Now what they're saying about this building right here, there's actually a little data plate that just lists it as a building, and it would have been up on stilts. That's what these are. So they think it might have been a structure similar to some of the royal palace buildings, so there might have been somebody important living here. And this would have been elevated up because this area would flood. I mean, that was one of the things about Ayutthaya in the old days, is it would flood. That was actually one of the things they used for the defenses of the city, is that if an invader was coming, all they had to do was hold out until the floods came, and then they would have to retreat. And what the Burmese did is they planned for the flood. So they brought supplies to last them for 2 years. So they waited out the rainy season and the flood, and they were still there, and they were still well rationed and everything for the following year's campaigns. And then over here is the outer wall, and then the little canal that was to the north of the temple. You can see what's left of it over here. So when you're out here, you'll see the monitor lizards, and the locals will be out here fishing and stuff like that. And it's just kind of a jungly area with some walking paths through this grandmother's park that takes you, that you can walk to each of these small little temples. Yeah, and here's that last little building we looked at. Over here's the base of this building that had the two chetties on the north and south of it. And you can see here they have this little walkway that goes down through, and then the outer wall of the temple. Yeah, this is nice. This is a great place to come over. You're not going to be here with the crowds, so you can come over here and you can climb on these old ruins and kind of explore it at your leisure. I like it. You're away from the crowds that go over to Wat Mahahat and Wat Ratchaburna and Wat Sisampet, and you're just out here and you can kind of enjoy it. And it's easily accessible. You got Utong Road over there, and then there's other things to see. But here is that first ordination hall, and that's a really good sized building. And that would have accessed the chetties. So that's the whole temple. We got to see it. Like I said, it wasn't very big, but just kind of a nice little ruin out here in the Grandmother's Park. That'll finish up our video over here at this Wat Luang Chi Krut. It's an interesting enough little temple. It's not one that most visitors to Ayutthaya come over here and look at, but I like to see stuff like this that is a little bit less known. These are kind of the unknown temples, and the locals even just don't even stop here. They just drive right by on Utong Road. So I like getting out here and walking around. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, definitely smash the like button, subscribe if you're new here, and leave me a comment, tell me what you think. If there's anything else you want to see in Ayutthaya, I come up here a lot, and I really like coming to the old city. There's just so much history, and I like stamping around on these old temples and stuff like that. So if there's anything else you want to see, let me know, and I'll try to make a video of it. And from over here in Ayutthaya, remember, life is a journey. Until next time, enjoy.